Na tunasoma maneno.
To notes kidogo.
Yeah.
So sikukuu ni wapi, Rais?
Sikukuu ndio bado napanga. Sijui. Imekuwa muda sija I have not had a holiday in a long time. You know, so I need to work out something. I'm negotiating with my family members.
Yes.
Yes. Nilikuambia hii maneno mimi siwezani naye. Naona sasa. Mimi ni mtu ya kijiji. Paka rangi mingi. Aliniambia ati ataki ni shine. Sasa nikamwambia watu wanajikaza sana kushine, alafu wewe unanirudisha nyuma. Utaki ni shine.
Taking away your shine.
Asante. Kuna mtu amelalamika mahali?
The cameras.
Kuna watu wanalalamika huko eh?
Kamera inalalamika.
Wanasema haonekani ama nini? Iko shida? Oh, lo. Maybe we change the position.
I want someone to remove the meats from my knee back.
Tosha.
The microphone. Hiyo nini iko hapo nyuma?
Pengine this light maybe is the one that's too much. Kumbe light iko kila mahali.
Yes. Make sure you don't have shadows on your face. You need help.
Yeah. I don't know which camera person. Shataka nitolewe nini? It's pulling my neck back. Who
can help?
Nani atakuja?
Let's go.
It's you. No, you can remove this nini ikae chini because it's pulling my neck back.
Jambo. Good evening, gentlemen and lady and gentlemen. Ladies. Yes. Habari? Hello. How are you, madam? Habari yako?
Salama sana.
Hello. How are you, sir? Habari yako? Nzuri. Jambo.
Jambo.
How are you?
Mzima.
Very good. Habari?
Fiti sana.
Kwa salama?
Kabisa.
Hey,
Habari Sam?
are you, sir?
You're well?
Yes, I'm all right.
Very good.
Thank you.
Yes. Karibuni sana.
Asante sana. Kungojea sana.
Mumeningojea, I thought we agreed. Ama from the other time
Yes.
when we met.
It's been a while.
Yes. Mimi ndio nimekuwa nikiongojea.
Okay.
Leo tumefika.
Karibuni sana.
Asante sana.
Very good. Yes, good people.
Yes. We'll be speaking in a few minutes.
Okay.
Maybe in the next 10 or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
You're keeping well?
I'm keeping well.
Yeah.
Yes.
So much work to do.
Kabisa. Kibarua mingi lakini ndio hali.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's important. Watu wafanye kazi.
Kabisa lazima tufanye bidii. Lakini sasa inaonekana Christmas gear imeanza
Oh, yes.
naona watu kidogo na unapiga mtu fulani imeenda. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Very good.
Okay.
Habari ya kibarua yenu?
Tunakazana.
Tunang'ang'ana
Sana. Tunang'ang'ana.
Nachapa kazi.
kila mtu ang'ang'ane. Yeah.
Yako inakupelekaje?
Mimi nasukuma kusukuma.
Nzuri.
Kibarua iko ngumu lakini unajua niliwaambia wakati ule mwingine Waswahili wanasema mwiba wa kujidunga hauambiwi pole. Kwa sababu ndio kutafuta ulitafuta. So lazima ning'ang'ane naye.
Na wanasema pia ndovu hashindwi na pembe zake.
Ama ngamia hashindwi na nundu
Na nundu.
yake.
Basi hiyo ndio maneno.
You have a new notebook.
Niko na notebook. Si naona hata wewe umebeba. Amejipanga.
Mine is the same. Yenye tuliongea 4th of January, I still have it.
Yangu inajaa haraka. Yangu ni mingi.
Okay.
Yangu inajaa haraka. Yeah.
Na ikijaa inawekwa ama
Ikijaa inapangwa mahali fulani. Ndio nijipange nayo hapo mbele.
Reference.
Na wakati wa campaign you used to have very small papers. Na tunasoma maneno.
To notes kidogo kidogo.
Yeah.
So sikukuu ni wapi, Rais?
Sikukuu ndio bado napanga. Sijui. Imekuwa muda sija I have not had a holiday in a long time. You know, so I need to work out something.
You're not
I'm negotiating with my family members.
Yes.
Yes. Nilikuambia hii maneno mimi siwezani naye. Unaona sasa. Mimi ni mtu ya kijiji. Paka rangi mingi. Aliniambia ati ataki ni shine. Sasa nikamwambia watu wanajikaza sana kushine alafu wewe unanirudisha nyuma. Utaki ni shine.
Taking away your shine.
Asante. Kuna mtu amelalamika mahali?
The cameras.
Kuna watu wanalalamika huko
Kamera inalalamika.
Wanasema haonekani ama nini? Iko shida? Oh, lo. Maybe we change the position.
I want someone to remove the meat in my knee back.
Tosha.
The microphone. Hiyo nini iko hapo nyuma? Imewekwa.
Pengine this light maybe is the one that's too much. Kumbe light iko kila mahali.
Yes. Make sure you don't have shadows on your face. You need help.
Yeah, I don't know
Utakaje?
which camera person. Nataka nitolewe nini. It's pulling my neck back. My
Okay, help.
nani atakuja?
Yeah, let's go.
It's you. No, you can remove this nini ikae chini because it's pulling my
Good evening. My name is Grace Kuria Kanja from TV47, which is under Cape Media Limited.
Good evening. My name is Paul Wafula, an editor with the Business Daily. I represent the Nation Media Group, and thank you for having us this evening.
Hamjamboni, mimi ni Daniel Kitu kutoka K24 Media Max Network Limited.
Nami ni Kamchemenza kutoka shirika la utangazaji humu nchini KBC. Karibu mtazamaji na shukran vile vile rais kwa kutualika.
Right, and Mr. President, the last time we met on the 4th of January, you said you'd have wanted to introduce yourself. So please go ahead.
William Ruto is my name, and I work for the people of Kenya.
Great. And Your Excellency, we're here to have a conversation about a review of your presidency, which started some 15 months ago, but also to be also specific to what has transpired in the year 2023. Of course, you've had a lot of activities. You've attended different events. You've spoken a lot about your focus, your vision for the country. And tonight, we want to spend some time to answer the questions of accountability, what you've been able to do, what you've not been able to do, and what the promises in the coming years. And of course, we'll start with a question about what has just happened to the Kenya shilling, which appears to be on a free fall.
Vyema kabisa, asante sana Sam. Mheshimiwa Rais, nadhani ni wazi kwamba kichochea uchumi huwa ni sarafu ya kimataifa na jinsi inavyofanya kazi yake katika taifa lolote lile. Hapa nchini Kenya, kusema ukweli, sarafu ya dola imekuwa ikipanda. Ni kama free fall kwa sasa, yani hakuna udhibiti ama control yoyote inayoendelea. Kumbuka Mheshimiwa Rais, hii pia inachochea katika biashara za uagizaji bidhaa hapa nchini, biashara zinazoendelea hapa nchini, wafanyabiashara wanaotumia dola, na inachangia sana katika uchumi kuendelea kudidimia kwa sababu unakuta sarafu ya dola iko juu na inadhibiti. Ulitangaza awali kwamba katika siku zichache zijazo dola itaonekana ikishuka chini, lakini imekuwa ikienda 50, 151, 153. Hivi Mheshimiwa Rais, ni mikakati ipi ambayo uko nayo kwa sasa ambayo itakuwa ni ya karibu sana kuhakikisha kwamba unadhibiti hii hali ambayo inaathiri uchumi kwa sasa? Bila shaka uchumi umepanda zaidi, gharama ya maisha iko juu, bei ya bidhaa muhimu ziko juu sana kwa sababu kiwango cha dola kiko juu na hakiwezi kudhibitika.
Asante sana Ali Manzu na ndugu wenzako ambao mmekuja kunitembelea. Kwanza nataka niseme nimefurahi sana kupata muda pamoja na nyinyi tuweze kujadili mambo ambayo ni ya muhimu kwa taifa letu la Kenya. And maybe just to answer you so that we are all on the same page. The issue of exchange rate is a factor of many aspects. As you know, I came into office when there was a lot of fluid activity in the space. We had a serious situation caused by COVID. We had a big war in Europe. We have a huge drought, climate change caused by climate change. And all those factors combined to create a situation globally that increased the price of commodities that we import, increased demand for the dollar. And in fact, what has happened is that the Fed, that is the central bank of the US, if you wish, has increased interest rates from 0.25 to 5.25. In fact, in the history of the Fed, this is the steepest interest rate increase in its history. what that has done, and because every country tried, including Kenya, every country tried to enhance liquidity because of the crisis, the COVID, so everybody tried to increase money in supply. In the process, we created a very serious situation of inflation. And when inflation ran away, in fact, for some countries, inflation has gone all the way to 40%, especially in our continent. Our inflation was almost double digit. It was 9 point something. So what the world has done, and which Kenya we are doing, is to manage inflation, to manage money supply. Because if you don't manage inflation, you run into a lot of problems. So what has the US done? They increased their interest rates. And because of the increase on interest rates, there was the demand for the dollar. People who had invested outside the US began to see an opportunity in the US. And so there was a lot of dollars leaving Kenya, leaving other countries, going to the US. What does that mean? It reduces the supply of dollars. And therefore, as compared to Kenya shillings, then the situation went up. Everybody expected that the US would ease on interest rates, on increasing their own interest rates. They didn't. That was the expectation of the whole globe. That's number one. Number two, in Kenya, we were maintaining an artificial exchange rate. You had the central bank governor, Mr. Thuge, say that this interest rate of, this exchange rate of 130 that we were maintaining was artificial. I mean, it was maintained using our foreign exchange reserves. What happened? The government of Kenya spent $2.6 billion. That is almost 400 billion Kenya shillings in, supporting the Kenya shilling so that it doesn't go to its actual exchange rate.
How did they do that?
You sell dollars, Kenya reserves. You sell it to the market so that you increase supply of dollars at a price that is not the actual price, a subsidized price.
So this is the central bank. Central bank selling
of
to the
Kenya.
market.
Yes, the central bank of
Where
Kenya.
are they getting it from? The dollar itself.
Our reserves. We have reserves.
Yes, the reserves as of that time were just over 4 point something months.
Yes, that is exactly what happened. That's why those reserves came down to 3 point something months.
Mr. President.
Today, and let me just finish. So because of that artificial support, when I came in, that is unsustainable. And it is partly why we have a crisis in our economy, because we were doing things that have no market support. So what I decided is we cannot, because it was anyway going to end up in a bigger crisis. So we stopped the artificial supply of dollars into the market. That's number one. We also, and that is why the rates went up. It is better for the rates to be up and they are not supported by artificial. We are not losing any foreign currency as a country. And what has happened is that imports to Kenya have gone down because our exports are now much more attractive. In fact, the people in the tea sector, the people in the coffee sector are earning much more than they were earning before. So what has happened is we are now keeping the exchange rate at a market rate, that we are not artificially supporting it.
Yes, Mr. President, we will get to.
And what will happen is once the international economic space eases out, the dollars, then the exchange rate will then come down consistent with our own management.
Thank you. So in April last year, you did say that you will bring down, or the shilling will come down to about 115. This is an interview on accountability. That shilling has moved from 120.37. We are looking at 153.78 by Friday. And this is the central bank official rate. We also know that this is not the actual rate that actually Kenyans are spending when they go to buy the dollar. You promised that the government-to-government deal will fix this problem. Has it failed? And if so, what really happened?
Let me tell you, my brother, if I hadn't structured the G2G deal, the dollar today maybe would be at 250. That's how serious it would be. Why? Because the US Fed kept on increasing their interest rates. And you know very well that we can do the things we have done as Kenya, but we are also subject to the global economy. The G2G deal has worked. If we hadn't experienced an increase in the Fed, the dollar would be at 120 today. But because they kept on increasing the US exchange rate, our exchange rate, if we hadn't done the G2G transaction, if we were still going to the market to look for $500 million, 60 billion Kenyan shillings every month, and in fact, many banks, by the way, were waiting for the dollar to be at 200. Yeah, they will have to wait for a while because we have done things that nobody expected would be done, and we have managed to make sure that although things are not going the way we had planned, but they haven't gone overboard.
Mr. President, when did the US Fed begin raising the interest rates?
Maybe 2 years ago, immediately after the serious the COVID situation. That is when they began to
Meaning
increase.
they were already doing this by the time of your election.
But they were not at 5.2.
And I'm just asking.
Yeah, they had
in
begun.
terms of what was happening.
They had begun.
I asked that because in April this year, that's when the government-to-government deal started.
Correct.
And I remember your deputy, Rigathi Gachagua, saying that those people that have dollars in their houses, it is time to sell because you're just about to suffer loss.
Yes.
Yourself, you said that you see it going below 120.
Correct.
$115 even.
Correct.
So if you have all this information, why then promise something that was also bound to the changes in the global economy?
You see,
and now you're saying it could have gone up to 200. Which figure do we trust?
Let me tell you, my friend, we live in a global environment. And I know you're saying that because when we structured the G2G, many people keep saying, but this is what's happening in this country. This is what's happening in this country. Fuel today is at diesel 200 shillings, 201 in Kenya. It's exactly the same in our neighboring countries, Tanzania, Uganda. Many people think that fuel in Kenya is artificially managed by government of Kenya. It is not.
We'll come to that.
I'm just giving you as an example, because so that you understand where we are. And I want to say this without fear of any contradiction. If we had not tamed, already we were having stockouts here of fuel because of the lack of dollars. Because all these oil companies were running around. When I came into office, the first people I met were the oil companies. And they told me, look, we can't find the dollars. You know, although we are being told dollars is at 120 something, 130, we can't find it. You know, the dollars are not there because the rates were artificial. So we came to discover later, you know, that, oh, this dollar was being managed artificially. And that is how we realized that $2.6 billion of government money had been used, sold to banks to support an artificial exchange rate that was actually going to go the opposite direction.
Mr.
If we hadn't been managing the dollar exchange rate artificially, today we would be talking a different story.
Mr. President, you've been in office for 15 months, and you wouldn't want to go to what happened in the previous regimes, and that's why you're taking.
I am not talking about any previous regime. I'm just giving you the facts.
Artificially what you're talking about. Let us remain here, and we're looking at even the region in terms of the East African region. Look at even the Uganda shilling and the Tanzanian currencies. They aren't depreciating as fast as they are, as Kenya is doing. In fact, some of those currencies are actually appreciating as we speak today. They do not have a government-to-government deal, but they are somewhere. Most of them import from Kenya. The question is, what has been the problem with the government-to-government deal, and why has it not been able to fix the slide in the Kenya shilling?
You know, the government-to-government deal is not the only thing that will fix the exchange rate. It is one of the many things, right? We are a different economy from Uganda. We are a different economy from Tanzania, right? We have much more imports. We import much more for our industries because we are a different economy for all our other services than Uganda or Tanzania does. We are not in the same category economy-wise. We are a middle-income economy. They are in a different category, not like us. So you cannot compare them and us. Then you are not comparing the same stuff. And I don't want us to talk about other countries because then I don't want us to say which country is better than which one.
Then,
That's
Mr.
not-
President, let's talk solutions.
Yes.
Because this basically drives almost everything, right, in the country. So the question would be what you are doing to strengthen the Kenya shilling.
Precisely. That now you're talking. Three things. Number one, you have heard me clearly. In the last budget, I said there are things we are importing today which we should not be importing. We shouldn't be importing cement. We shouldn't be importing steel. We shouldn't be importing furniture. There are many things we are spending huge amounts of money to import when we can manufacture them locally. That is the reason why we have put a levy on the import of these unnecessary imports of products into Kenya, so that we can stem the export of our foreign currency and manufacture those items locally. Number two, we are importing 500 billion Kenya shillings every year of food items. 500 billion. From edible oil to maize to rice to all those. 500 billion US dollars we are importing. Uganda does not import that much food. Tanzania does not import that